सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ओम शांति शांति शांति। ओम पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ओम शांति शांति शांति। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। चैतन्यं सर्वगं सर्वं सर्वभूतगुहाशयम् यत्सर्वविषयातीतं तस्मै सर्वविदे नमः। विज्ञातेर्यस्तु विज्ञाता सत्त्वमित्युच्यते यतः स स्यादनुभवस्तस्य ततोऽन्योऽनुभवो मृषा। दृशिरूपे सदा नित्ये दर्शनादर्शने मयि कथं स्यातां ततो नान्यः इष्यते अनुभवस्ततः। So the question was that everything, including ahankara also, is negated as anatma, then nothing remains. Therefore, when the Upanishad says Tattvamasi, Tvam, that's what you are, that's thou art, there is no Tvam left. So whatever is Tvam or I, ultimately that was ahankara, that also is no more there, there is no Tvam left. Therefore, the word Tvam in the Mahavakya Tattvamasi has nothing to refer to, has no Vishaya at all, no alambram, no Vishaya. So what purpose would this Mahavakya serve when there is no Tvam? Vijñātehi astu vijñāta saha tvamiti uchyate. Vijñātehi vijñāta. Vijñāti is a knowledge, cognition that takes place, which is a vritti, buddhi vritti, a state of mind. So vijñātehi tasyaha vijñāta, the one who is vijñāta, the illuminator of that, which cannot be known. The vijñātehi vijñātaram vijāniyaha. You cannot know the knower of knowing. When it said you cannot know the knower of knowing, you cannot know like a cow which is pointed out by holding horns. You cannot know the knower of the knowing as an object that you traditionally know. And therefore, you can negate everything that is knowable in a conventional sense, including ahankara, which can be negated. But then knower does not fall in that category which can be negated. Therefore, just because the negation process stops someplace, it does not mean that it stops, so it includes what? It includes all that can be objectified. That's what can be negated. By negating what all is objectified does not mean nothing remains. The one who objectifies all, what is said to be the knower of the knowing, or the very essence of objectifier cannot be negated. Sasyat anuvastasya. So there is the tvam, there is a content or vishaya or the alambanam, subject matter of tvam, which is non-negatable, which is very self. Sasyat anubhavastasya. So knowing that self is anubhava that we are talking about. Tathanya anubhava mrusha. If you experience something that is experienceable, then that is mrusha, that is not atma. But when you experience what is not conventionally experienceable, that is atma, that is there. So tvam is very much there, which is the entity tvam in the Mahavakya Tattvamasi. But I can't see it. It says Drishi Rupe Sada Nitye Darshana Darshane Mai Kasam Syatam. What can be negated, it's what can be objectified, is subject to darshana and adarshana. Something objectified is subject to darshanam when it is illumined by consciousness, emerging from you, the consciousness. Adarashanam, then there is no cognition of that entity when the objectification or the illumination is not there. So all those entities that are anatma, other than you, and therefore achetana, therefore those which cannot reveal themselves, which therefore require to be revealed or illumined, all those entities including ahankara are subject to darshana and adarshana. Darshana when they are illumined, adarshana when they are not illumined. Meaning adarshanam is possible in case of anatma or achetana because it cannot illumine itself. It does not have the freedom to reveal itself, therefore it can be the darshanam, the knowledge can be there only when it is revealed or illumined. Otherwise adarshanam. So anatma, what is negatable, including ahankara, is subject to darshana, adarshana. Even the darshana of ahankara, adarshana is there in deep sleep state and not illumined. But mai drishirupe katham syata. Darshanam, adarsanam, appearance, disappearance, how can there be in me, in I, the tvam, which is drishirupa, which is consciousness, ever shining, ever revealed, of which adarsanam can never be. Therefore darshanam cannot be. Darshanam can be there where there is adarsanam. You can say therefore nitya, sada nitya. So that which is sada, always nitya. Nahi vijñāto vijñāte viprilopo vidyate. That's the explanation of sada nitya. Drushi swarupa. There cannot be adarsanam. Adarsanam, a non-cognition, can be in case of an entity which requires to be illumined when it cannot itself reveal itself. But for the self-revealing self, there cannot be a darshanam. What is this? You can call it darshanam, nitya darshanam. Therefore, nitya should be added. Nitya darshanam. When there is the agantuka darshanam of the entities, all anatma, therefore, atma can be called nitya darshanam. Because that darshanam is of a different class. The darshanam of anatma up to ahankara is when it is revealed or illuminated. That is darshanam subject to adarshanam. But here, this cannot be in case of atma, which is nitya darshana swarupa. Tata nanya ishade anubhava tataha. Therefore, you do not need an anubhava separate from your own self. Always reveal, recognize that you are self-effulgent. Always reveal anubhava swarupa. And therefore, do not search for an anubhava. Tataha anyaha anubhava na ishyate. Anubhava is already there. Because you are anubhava swarupa, therefore you are that of which anubhava cannot not be there. So don't search for an anubhava. Because what you call anubhava always involves the anubhavita, anubhavya, anubhava, the triputi. You are the anubhava swarupa without the triputi. Therefore, tataha anya anubhava na ishyate. Other than you, anubhava swarupa, no other anubhava is required. Now continuing on the page 180 here, or after the verse 10. Uktameva nitya drug rupatvam atma sputayati. Atma is nitya drug rupa, nitya darshan rupa. Call it drug, the seer, always a seer, nitya darshana rupa. Atmana sputayati, which was stated in the earlier verse, is further clarified in the 10th verse. Yathastapo raverdehe dushes vishayo yatha satvastastadvadeveha dushes vishayastatha. Yatsthaha tapaha ravehe dehe. Ravehe of the sun, tapaha the heat of the light. Yasthaha where it is in the body, dehe. Saha dushe vishayaha. That tapa, which is heat or illumination of the sun in the body, so that is being experienced. You experience that I am hot, you say. So the body along with the heat of the sun is experienced. The heat of the sun is experienced along with the body, or body along with the heat of the sun is experienced. That part of the body which is heated by the sun. Yatha, just as this is an example, very deshi example, you know. But anyway, that's the example. Tadvat satvastah tadvad evaya drushehe vishayastatha. Tadvat in a manner similar to that. Sattvastha eva iha drishehe vishayastatha. So the drik or the consciousness, so it illumines the antahkarana. Just as the sun illumines or warms up the body, so also consciousness enlivens, illumines sattva, means antahkarana. In the tapa which is in the body is experienced, also the consciousness which is in the antahkarana is experienced. They reflect the consciousness. There is drishya vishaya. There is vishaya of the drishi or the consciousness. So this is the way to explain the nitya drigrupatvam atmana. Atma is nitya drigrupa. Yadva, or this verse can be sukha dukkhadi yuktatvena atmana bhanat na nitya dushimatratvam. Either it is nitya drigupatvam because atmana bhanam, the experience, awareness of the Atma is always there. Therefore, Atma is of the nature of awareness, eternal awareness, unchanging awareness. One may say that, who says that constant awareness is nature of Atma? Because we experience Atma always sukhi dukhi. Sukha dukkhadi yuktatvena atmana bhanat. Atmana bhanat, the bhanam, the awareness of Atma is always sukha dukkhadi yuktatvena, as endowed with sukha dukkha. Means Atma is experienced sukhi dukhi. I experience, I am sukhi, aham dukhi. No nitya dushimatratvam. Therefore, how can you say that Atma is eternal awareness? Because I experience Atma as sukhi dukhi and changing. So next verse, can you say to answer this question? Yastaha tapaha iti. So Tikakara says, Yastaha tapaha ravehe dehe. Ravehe tapaha dehe bhavan. Yastaha yat padesha sthito bhavati स विषय यथा स ताप यथा स्वाश्रय प्रदेश विशिष्टेव दृशे आत्मन विषय. So imagine that you are standing in the sun and you are experiencing the heat of the sun and say, I am hot. You say, I am hot. So what is your experience? I am hot. Which is that ravehe tapo dehe bhavan, just as the heat of the sun which is in the body. Yatsa, so which tapa, which heat is experienced wherever the heat is in the body. Yat padesha sthito bhavati, that heat, it's in whichever part of the body that heat is. Sa tapa yatha swasya padesha vishishteva, that tapa, heat is experienced along with the body where the heat is. When you say, I am hot, that I am and hot both are experienced. What is I am? I am in the body that time. And when you say hot, means that heat which is in that part of the body. So therefore, it is the body along with the heat, or heat along with the body, that becomes the object of experience of the drishi of the self. This example. Tadvadeva iha, second line, Tadvadeva iha, iha means vyavhara kala in our day-to-day life. Sattvastha, sattva means antahkarana. So antahkaranastha, sattvastha means antahkaranastha eva bhavati. So you experience yourself as what? Just as you experience yourself as hot, here you experience yourself as sukhi dukhi. Sukha dukkhadi rupaha tapaha. Here what is tapa? Sukha dukkha is tapa. And wherever that tapa is, which is what antahkarana, in the antahkarana, heat of the sun is in the body, that part of the body, so experience body along with the heat. So also tapa is now sukha dukkha is called tapa. And it is an antahkaranam. So when you experience sukha dukkha, you experience antahkaranam where the sukha dukkha is. You experience antahkaranam with sukha dukkha. Swashraya antahkarana sahitaya drushe vishaya. So the Atma experiences that sukha dukkha along with antahkaranam where sukha dukkha is. This Atma experiences body along with the heat where the heat is. So Swashraya, along with Ashraya, the experience takes place. Experience of heat takes place along with the body where the heat is. So Sukha Dukkha experience along with the Antahkaranam where the Sukha Dukkha. Antah is Ashraya. So along with Ashraya, Sukha Dukkha experience. Along with Ashraya, the heat is experience. Ashraya is body. So Drushehe Vishaya. Understand that Sukha Dukkha along with the Ashraya or Antahkarana is Vishaya, is object of experience of the Atma. Na Durgatma Samaveta. Therefore Atma is different from that Sukha Dukkha and Antahkarana, which are the objects of experience. Therefore Atma is unrelated to Sukha Dukkha. You can call yourself Sukhi Dukhi is different thing. But Sukha Dukkha are experienced along with Antahkarana where, which is the Ashraya. So Atma is experiencer of Sukha Dukkha. Therefore an experiencer is different from what is experienced. It is unconnected experience. Therefore Atma is unconnected to Sukha Dukkha. Tadrugatma samveta hityartha. That tapa, what tapa? Sukha Dukkha. Along with Swasya Antahkarana. That's the object of experience with which Atma has no connection at all. Sukha Dukkha is Samaveta, is one with Antahkarana, not one with Atma. You say that you have always experienced Atma as with Sukhi Dukkhi. So how do you say Atma is consciousness? It says when you experience Sukha Dukkha, you don't experience Atma, you experience Antahkaranam. Atma is the experiencer of Sukha Dukkha with Antahkaranam and therefore unconnected to them. So even when you experience Sukha Dukkha and think that you are Sukha Dukkhi, understand that you have no connection with Sukha Dukkha. So it is the interpretation of experience rather than experience, from which you conclude that Atma is always is not Nitya Drishta. So टीकाकरे अतः तापस्य अन्य धर्मत्वेन एव अनुभवात्. Just as the heat of the sun is experienced as the body is ashraya, and therefore body is hot. Heat is the nature of body. So sukha dukkha are comparable to tapa, of which ashraya is antahkarana. It's antahkarana that is experienced as sukhi dukkhi and not atma. Body experiences he hot and not Atma. So also Antahkarana experiences Sukha Dukkhi, not Atma. Therefore, Tapasya Anya Dharmatvena, the tapa, the heat, is dharma of the body. Sukha Dukkha is the dharma of the Antahkaranam. So Anya Dharmatvena Anubhavad, therefore Sukha Dukkha are experienced by you as dharma of Antahkarana and not dharma of Atma. So therefore from that you cannot conclude that Atma is not consciousness. Atma Nitya Chaitanya Matra Swabhava Eva Iti Bhava. So even when you experience Sukha Dukkha and conclude that I am Sukhi Dukkhi, that is a wrong conclusion, because the fact that you experience Sukha Dukkha, you experience them along with their ashraya, the locus, namely Antahkarana. Therefore you, the experiencer, is different from Sukha Dukkha and Antahkarana. So your conclusion that yes, Sukha-Dukkhi is wrong. Therefore, who are you? Nitya Chaitanyamatra Svabhavaha. That's what the Druk is. This is one explanation of this verse. अथवा देहे भवन रवेः तापः यत्स्थः यस्मिन् देह देशे स्थितः स देहेव तापविशिष्टः तप्तोऽमिति मन्यमानस्य. Or the रवेः तापः, the heat of the sun, is not experiencing the whole body. The sun heats up a part of the body. Wherever the sunlight falls or wherever the heat of the sun falls, that part of the body is heated. So you say that I am hot. In fact, what are you calling I? You are calling only that part of the body which is heated is what is called I by you, and then you conclude that I am hot. So deha eva tava vishishta taptohamita manyamanasya. That part of the body which is heated by the heat of the sun is taken as the whole body, you know. So when you say I am hot, when you declare I am hot, or Swami used to say, this man comes and says, I am in pain. You are in pain? The whole of you is in pain? No, my body is in pain. The whole body is in pain? No, my right side is in pain. The whole right side? No, my right leg is in pain. The whole right leg? No, my knee is in pain. Whole knee? No, this point is in pain. So when you really inquire, so localize, understand that what is local is thought to be pervading the whole body. So also heat is localized. Sometimes your one part of the body is in the sun. All of a sudden you realize that your head is hot, or leg is hot, or hand is hot. And then you keep on saying, I am hot, I am hot. So how part of the body is taken as the whole body? And then you say, I am hot. So that I am hot is the whole body is hot, even when only a part of the body is hot. तद्वदेव विषय संपर्क जनितः सुख दुःखादितापः सत्वस्थः अंतःकरणस्थः एव यदि. So just as the heat is only in given part of the body and not in the whole body, so also sukha dukkhadi tapa. So sukha dukkha is compared to tapa here. How is it born? Vishaya samparga janitaha. Pleasure and pain that is born or created on account of the Vishaya samparga, the association with the respective sense object. Satvastha, where does that take place? In antahkaranam. It's an antahkarana vritti. It is so what you are experiencing when you say I am happy or I am unhappy, you know what you are experiencing? You are experiencing that part of antahkaranam where the sukha dukkha is. And you say the whole of I is sukhi dukkhi. You experience heat in one part of the body and you declare I am hot. So you are experiencing sukha dukkha and antahkarana and you declare I am sukhi dukkhi. So recognize that I is that antahkaranam where the sukha dukkha is. It is the antahkaranakya sukhadita vishishtah. Therefore when you say I am sukhi, what is sukhi? The antahkaranam along with that sukha vritti is sukhi, and you are declaring unnecessarily I am sukhi. That's a habit. Just one part of the body is hot and you say I am hot. So similarly, not one part of the mind or atma, but then mind is hot and you declare that I am hot. Mind is sukhi, you declare I am sukhi. Tadrushe sakshino vishaya ityartha. Therefore, that Sukha Dukkha etc. are the Vishaya of the Sakshi and not the Dharma of Sakshi. When you say Sukhi Aham, I am happy, that means that according to you, happiness is the attribute of Atma. That's your conclusion. Because when you really think of that experience, you find that experience takes place in the mind. So Sukha Dukkha are experienced along with the mind. And you are concluding, I am Sukhi Dukhi. So just because you say I am Sukhi Dukhi doesn't mean that Sukha Dukkha are the attributes of Atma. Because even when you analyze that experience, you find that Sukha Dukkha are experienced along with the Ashraya Antahkaranam. You the experiencer of that, not connected to that. Therefore, that also reveals, that statement reveals that you are Nitya Dukh Swarupaha or Drishi Swarupaha. Tathacha Sukhiyam ityadi abhimanasya. Therefore, abhimanam Sukhiyaham, Dukhyaham. That is the notion. The notion that I am Sukhi, Dukhi, happy, unhappy. Dehatapena tadadhyasat taptohamiti. What is hot is body, and you say, I am hot. The part of the body is hot, is the whole of I am hot. So that is adhyasa. Identification of the body creates in you this notion that I am hot, whereas it is very clear that the body is hot. Similarly also, so the antahkarana adhyasa nibandhanatva. Similarly also, because of identification with antahkarana, where the happiness and unhappiness is, by identification with that, you declare that I am happy and unhappy. Therefore, this aviveka, vivekinaha, don't say that everybody has this notion. That everybody does not experience Atma as Sukhi Dukhi, understand? And aviveki thinks Atma as Sukhi Dukhi. Even aviveki also does not experience Atma as Sukhi Dukhi. But aviveki has a notion that Atma is Sukhi Dukhi. Therefore, when there is a viveki who is able to separate the Atma, no Atma is different from the body or mind, he doesn't say that I am Sukhi Dukhi. Vivekina dukkhadi mattaya Atma kadapi na bhasate. Who is viveki? One who is able to see the Atma as drashta, separate from antahkaranam. And therefore, he knows that Sukha Dukkha are the attributes of antahkaranam, and he never sees Atma as Sukhi Dukhi. So this is the conclusion of aviveki, which cannot be cited as the basis of determining nature of Atma. So that experience, Sukhi Dukhi, is in a very interesting way analyzed here. To point out how you can experience Sukha Dukkha along with this Ashraya or Lokas, which is Antahkarana. So you are actually experiencing Antahkaranam, which is Ashraya of Sukha Dukkha along with Sukha Dukkha, and declaring that I am Sukhi, just as you are experiencing body along with the heat and declaring I am hot. So thus this identification is a habitual thing with the body, is also with the mind. So you cannot say that Atma is not consciousness from this conclusion. Because this conclusion itself shows that you are different from Sukha Dukkha which you are experiencing. Continuing, Atmana Sukhadi Yukta Antahkarana Sambandha Abhavam Sfutayan. So the teacher further clarifies, Sambandha Abhava. The Atma, the self, has no Sambandha with Sukha Dukkha. Earlier was explained because you are experiencing Sukha Dukkha and experiencer has no Sambandha with experienced. There is Sfutayati. So Sambandha Abhavam Sfutayan, that absence of any association with Sukha Dukkha is being clarified. Vikta Swarupam Anusandhatte, that Atma, what is the Swarupam Atma? So Anusandhanam, now the teacher here helps us to deliberate upon the Vivikta Swarupa, Atma, which is separate from the Sukha Dukkha. So clarifying that Sukha Dukkha are separate, thereby helps us to contemplate upon the nature of Atma. So the next verse is Pratisiddhedamamshosnyah Swami Vaikarasodvayah No, Khami Vaikarasodvayah Nityamuktas sada shuddhah Soham brahmasmi kevalah. Now, how to contemplate on oneself? So, taking help of these experiences, how these experiences help us to contemplate upon oneself. Pratishiddha idam amsha gnyaha. Gnyaha means what? The conscious being, of whom the nature is consciousness, gnyaha. Who is that gnyaha? Pratisiddha idam amsha. Pratisiddha idam amsha yena saha or yasmat saha pratisiddha idam amsha. So gnyaha, from the conscious being, idam amsha is pratisiddha, because right now the knower, when you conclude that aham sukhi, aham dukhi, there are no gnyaha, or the conscious being is thought to be sukhi dukhi. In sukhi dukhi there are two amsha, one is idam amsha, other is aham amsha. So sukha dukha being the attribute of the antahkarana, and therefore sukha dukha is what? Idam amsha. So pratisiddha, one who recognizes idam amsha, therefore what is meant by giving up? The negating is giving identification, not judging oneself by sukha dukkha, because they are the object of experience. That's called nisheda. Nisheda means giving up the identification, recognizing that it is an object. I am separate, therefore giving identification sukha dukkha is called pratishedha, or negating the idam amsha from jna. So what remains in jna is just consciousness. Because sukha dukkha etc., which is idam amsha, is negated, means recognized as non-I. Khamiva ekarasadvaya, then what is left? Until then I think that I am gnyaha, one gnyaha, second gnyaha, there are countless gnyaha, countless conscious beings are there. But when this, like the space thing, that part space I am, cross space I am, this space I am, so many people, identification with the upadhi. So in a part space, the part is idam amsha and space part is the aham amsha. When the space declares I am part space, then part is the idam amsha, space is aham amsha. So when that partness is negated, recognizing that it is drishya, idam, what remains is ekarasaha. So just as kham or the space remains one, non-dual, homogeneous, so the Atma remains as one, non-dual, homogeneous consciousness. Nitya mukta. Not that I am now liberated, I always was liberated. Sada shuddha, not that now I am pure, ever pure. Soham brahmasmi kevalah. Kevalah, absolute, non-dual. Soham brahmasmi, that Brahma I am. Therefore, negate the idam amsha. Then you contemplate. So the sukhadi yukta antahkarana sambandha abhavam sphutayan. That antahkarana sukhadi yukta antahkarana. The antahkarana which is qualified by sukha dukkha is what? Idam amsha. Therefore, aham has no sambandha or connection. Sambandha abhavam sphutayan. By calling it idam amsha, the sambandha abhava, the absence of sambandha of sukha dukkha vedatma is clarified, yes, put in. Then vivikta swarupam. Then swarupam of the atma, which is now separated from the idamamsha as ahamsha, sutayat anusandhate. He says, teacher says, now you see yourself. Yes, khamiva ekarasah advayah advitiyah nityamukta nityashuddha और सदा शुद्ध है सोहम केवल है ब्रह्मास्मि. यस्मादेव नेक्स्ट यस्मात् एव विचार्यमाणे ब्रह्मैव अहम ब्रह्मैव तस्मात् न साक्षी रूपस्य मम कुत्रापि स्वरूपेदस्ति इति अद्वयात्मतत्त्वम् आविष्करोति. Step by step the teacher leads you to the knowledge of the self. Yasmat eva vicharyamane. Thus, when I deliberate or contemplate upon myself in this manner, that khamiva ekarasa advaya nityamukta sadashuddha soham brahmasmi kevala eva vicharyamane. Aham brahmaiva. I am Brahman alone, not sukhi dukhi, nothing else. Tasmat, therefore, the Sakshi Rupasya, therefore I am Sakshi, witness, meaning I am illumination. Mam kutrapi surubhe, therefore nowhere is the Gnya different from other Gnya. When the Idam, I identify Idam Amsha, then every Gnya is different, every Atma is different, every Jivatma is different. So I habitually take myself different from others. But then when I deliberate upon the true nature of myself, then na kutrapi swarupedasti, then there is no bheda, duality at all, a division in swarupa. Right now I feel I am different from you, divided from others, but when then I recognize who that I is, then Brahmasmi, then there is no division at all. Iti advaya atma tattvam avishkaroti. This man, the teacher, avishkaroti. So, brings to light, reveals the advaitvam, atma tattvam, advaya atma tattvam. The atma tattvam, the essential nature of atma, advaya, non-dual, is what is brought out or revealed by the teacher. Next verse says, Vijñātur naiva vijñātā Paroñyas sambhavatyatah Vijñātāham paro muktah Sarvabhuteshu sarvada. Vijñātuhu vijñātā naiva paraha anyah sambhavati. Sarva vijñātu surupād atmananya yatah paro vyāpaka vijñāta naiva sambhavati. Vijñātuhu, the knower. So vijñātuhu vijñāta naiva paraha sambhavati. The vijñāta or knower cannot be different from the knower. Says sarva vijñātu rupāna atmana. As contemplated in earlier verse, I am not only vijñāta, I am sarva vijñāta. I am not only the witness of the thoughts in my mind, I am the witness in all the minds. Sarva vijñātu rupāna atmana. Therefore, atma or I, the Gnya, is not only vijñāta, sarva vijñāta. I am that witness of all the minds of everything. Anyah yatah paro vyāpako vijñāta naiva sambhavati. The vijñāta that I am, the witness that I am, other than the I witness, there cannot be any other witness at all, just there is one witness. Because witness is someone that is distinct from what is witnessed. Where the differences are and manyness is in witnessed, in drishya, in the upadhi. The witness was distinct from witnessed. And they were unqualified, unrelated to witnessed. All attributes and qualifications are in sakshi or witnessed. Witness unconnected to witness, therefore unconnected. All attributes are attributeless. The witness has to be attributeless, then only it can witness all attributes. See, this light can illumine colors provided light is colorless. So I can know various things, various attributes when the knower is attributeless. Therefore, the witness has to be attributeless to know these are the attributes. Therefore, the vijñāta or the knower is not knower of one entity or one personality or one person. I am the knower of all the entities. How can you say, Swamiji, I don't know what's going on in your mind? That's where the problem comes. When Atma is declared, this is discussed earlier anyway, but when Atma is declared as knower of all, the immediate question arises there, I am not the knower of, I don't know what's going on in your mind. But that knower is qualified by the mind, understand? We talk about pure knower who just shines, illumines, and knowing is illumining everything. Knowing in particular is only when the Atma is associated with the mind. Then a particular knower arises. But the Swarupa of knower, there are particular knowers are there, but that particularity is because of the association with identifying with one mind. Without identification, the idea of a given knower, what am I? That knower is nothing but consciousness. We say that you are the knower of all the mind, that does not, because don't confuse that with a knowing through mind. It is illumining, that's all. You are the illuminator of all minds. Sarvijñāto rūpāt ātma aññah yatha paro vyāpako vijñāta naiva sambhavati. Since it is not possible that there is a vijñāta other than Atma, who is more pervasive than Atma, or pervades elsewhere and I pervade here, never sambhavati. Because the jnata is attributeless. Not jnata of a given thing, jnata in general. So jnata of a ghatapata is mind. Atma, so is the mind because jnata of ghatapata. Particular jnata. But Atma without association mind is just jnata. And that jnata is you everywhere, the jnata is the same, and therefore you can say that I am the knower of everything. Ataha ahameva paro vijñāta sarvabhuteshu sthavradingameshu. Therefore, in all the entities, sthavradingama, mobile, immobile, all the conscious beings, I am the jnata. As illuminator, illuminating consciousness. Evam sarvijñaya taddharvahitvatvat muktascha ityartah. So jnata is vijñaya dharmarahitah. The knower is devoid of the attributes of what is known. In this case, knower is a consciousness which is devoid of the attribute of knowing also. Just being. Just shining, just being. That is what is called knower. Because ultimately without that knower cannot be, it's called knower in secondary sense. Atma is called vijñāta in secondary sense because what we call vijñāta cannot be unless Atma is. Atma that enlivens the mind and therefore that mind becomes, so vijñātritvam, the knowerness in primary sense only in buddhi. But still Atma is called knower because Buddhi cannot know unless it is enlivened by the Atma. Therefore, in a secondary sense, Atma is called knower. Atma is a seer also, hearer also, knower. Then drashtuhu, drashtehe, viparilo. So, it is called drashti, it is called mati, it is called shruti, it is called vijnati. A consciousness gets many names. Because darshanam or seeing through eyes, there is a drashta. That drashta is ahankara. He can be drashta only when enlivened by consciousness. Therefore, primarily drashta is ahankara. In a secondarily, consciousness also can be called drashta. Without that, darshanam cannot take place. So Atma is called Vijnata only in a secondary reason. But without Atma, Vijnata cannot be, because even though Ahankara is primary Vijnata, Ahankara needs to be enlivened by Atma, then only Ahankara can have Vijnatritvam. Therefore Atma is called Vijnata. Evam Sarvigneya Tad Dharmahitatvat. Therefore, I am devoid of the all Vigneya, the known, and Dharma of the known. Therefore, Shuddha Nitya Mukta. You are free. So this is the Advaya Atma Tattvam. Therefore, this Vijnata, unqualified Vijnata, this is qualified Vijnata, unqualified Vijnata. Qualified Vijnata, the Ahankara, which takes the role of Vijnata by identifying with the Buddhi. But that Vijnata also, primary Vijnata, is illumined or enlivened by consciousness. Therefore, consciousness is sort of called Vijnata also. But really, so, Sat Vijnaya, the reason why Atma is called Vijnata, you know why? Because Vijnata is separate from Vijnaya. Drashta is separate from Drushya. Therefore Atma is called Drashta. Atma is called subject. Why? Because subject is different from object. Therefore, distinguish Atma from object is called subject. To distinguish Atma from Vijnaya or Drushya is called Vijnata or Drashta. Then when you analyze who is this Vijnata or Drashta, then you realize that even Vijnatritvam is not there, because that can be only when it is connected with Vijnaya. In fact, not therefore, just consciousness. But these words Vijnata, Drashta, Shrota, etc. used for Atma to first distinguish it from Vijnaya, Shrotavya, Drashya, etc. And then says that Drashta is unconnected with Drashya. The unconnected attributes of Drashya. So Drashta is attributeless, therefore is consciousness. That's how I am consciousness. Evam Shrutyupadeshat Sarvatra Sarvada Advayam Atmanam Anusandhanasyapi. So now Anusandhanam is slowly becoming subtler and subtler, understand? Evam Shruti Upadeshat. In this manner, by the Upadesha of Shruti and the teacher. Sarvatra Sarvada Advayam Atmanam Anusandhanasyapi. So one now who is always keeping in mind, Anusandhanam means meditating, contemplating, deliberating, keeping aware of. That now I am aware of the self that is Atma, is Advaya, consciousness. Sarvada Advayam Atmanam Anusandhanasyapi. So now how do I see myself? As Advaya Atma. All the time, because Advaya Atma is not connected to time or place, therefore at all times, it is possible for me to be aware of myself as consciousness at all times, place and conditions, because the consciousness is unaffected by them, transcend, they are all at the Vyavaharika Mithya level. Yesterday we saw. Therefore it is possible For the wise person to recognize or be aware of the self as consciousness, non-dual, self of all eliminated, at all times, all place and all conditions. Still one problem remains. Brahmavid ahamiti asmiti abhimanat, but still he has this notion, I am a Brahmagnani. Brahmavid means what? Knower of Brahma. So Brahmavid ahamasmi. So this final abhimanam or the notion remains in the Brahmagnani also that I am Brahmavid. Otherwise how can you call him wise person? Unless awareness that I am wise, that much awareness remains. How can you call him knower of Brahma unless he is aware that I am knower of Brahma? So that awareness still remains. Syat savisheshatvam, therefore Atma is still qualified by being a knower of Brahma. So even a wise person also says, I am wise, or I am Brahmavid. So the state of being Brahmavid, there is knower of Brahma, that kind of qualification still remains. So Atma cannot be called Nirvishesha. This much Vishesha remains, that I am Brahmavid. I am no knower of Ghatapata, I am not, but knower of Brahma I am. So still knower remains, that qualification remains. Ataha yo veda iti. So next one says, yo veda lupta drishtitvam atmano kartritam tatha brahmavitvam tatha muktva atmajño na chetarah. Yo Veda, one who knows what? Alupta drishtitvam Atma. Atma alupta drishtitvam Veda. One knows that Atma is alupta drishti. That alupta drishti yasyasa, one whose drishti or awareness never suffers a cessation. So Brahmavitvam tatha muktva. So the Tika says Brahmavitvam muktva. So Brahmavitvam muktva means what? Giving up also the state of being a Brahmagnani. Meaning what? Brahmavidahamasmi iti abhimanam tyaktva. The wise person gives up even this kind of notion about oneself, that I am a knower of Brahman. Because that also is a state of ahankara. Very subtle state, but still that knowledge of Brahmani is a state of mind, is a vritti, and therefore I am a knower in the primary sense. When I say I am a knower of Brahman, then I am a knower. So that all that I is qualified. Then I am not other one who is not knower of Brahman, etc. That still distinction remains. When you say that I am a tapasvi and I am so and so, then you are excluding yourself from others. When you make any claim about yourself, then automatically you are distinguishing yourself from others who are not. Which may be all right in Vyavahara, give you the pride and give you some, sense of whatever, importance, etc., if you need that. But otherwise, even say I am a Brahmavid, that also becomes a sort of an abhimanam. So Brahmavitvam muktva, giving up Brahmavitvam. Brahmavitvam in the state of being a Brahmavid, that also is given up muktva. Meaning what? So the verse says Brahmavitvam muktva, Brahmavitvam tatha muktva. Brahmavitvam means what? State of being Brahmavid. Muktva, giving up. Giving up state of being Brahmavid. So Tika says Brahmavitvam muktva, Brahmavid ahamasmiti abhimanam tyaktva. Even that abhimanam that I am knower of Brahma, even that also is given up. Even that identification about oneself also doesn't remain. then what does it look upon himself? Yatha shrutviktam tatha atmana alupta chinmatrataya drashtutvam. Who am I? Alupta chinmatroham. Lopa means cessation. Alupta sees cessationless. I am the consciousness that never suffers cessation in waking, dream, deep sleep, past, present, future, good, bad, indifferent. It is always there. Alupta. Alupta duk. Or, yes, alupta drishtitvam. Drishti, seeing, awareness. I am awareness. So ultimately, seer also is awareness. Although one who is seeing through eye can be called seer, but as we say that seer can be only when he is enlivened by consciousness. Therefore, shrotrasya shrotram. Manaso manoho. Chakshusha chakshuh. So Atma is called shrotrasya shrotram, chakshusha chakshuh, because shrotra, chakshu, etc. gain their empowerment of performing their functions only when they are enlivened by Atma. But in reality, who are you? Alupta chinmatro, chinmatra. Chinmatro, you are only alupta chinmatra. You are nothing but unceaseless, ever shining consciousness you are. That's all. Without any qualification that you are a knower of Brahma. So that is the last thing that is negated. So wise person negates also even this notion that I am a knower of Brahma. So in the negation process, that last negation is what? I am knower of Brahma. Yada shrutviktam tatha atmana alupta chinmatrataya drashtutvam. That I am a drashta. What nature of drashta? Alupta chinmatroham. I am the ever shining, never suffers a cessation, ever shining drashta. So in drashta also, the moment you add an adjective nitya, then drashtutvam goes away. Drashta is always agantuka. Because when I become shruta, I am not drashta. Who is nitya drashta? Where the primary drashtutvam is not there, nitya drashta means just consciousness. So alupta chinmatrataya drashtutvam. Atma's drashtutvam, the being a drashta is of the nature of alupta chinmatratvam. Tata akartrutvam, similarly he knows akartruta. That kartrutva also is not in me. In alupta chinmatra. Sa atmagnya. The one who is free from even this notion of being a Brahmavit and knowing oneself as alupta chinmatroham, and therefore I am not drashta, I am not karta, I am nothing. Sa atmagnya. Atma tattva Brahmavit. He is called Atma, Atmagnya, or Atma Tattva Brahmavit. So, Brahma, Atma Tattva, the essential nature of Atma is Brahman, he is knower of that. Nacha itaraha, not the other one. Yeah, Abhiman Leshavi Bhajate, even the small Abhimanam is there that I am Brahmavit, even that also is not Atmavit or Brahmatmavit. Tattva Brahmavit. Even that slight Abhimanam is there, I am knower of Brahma, that also cannot be called Brahmajnani. Even that also is dropped by one, and who say, what does he know? Alupta chinmatroham, akartaham, nirvisheshvaham, advityoham, etc. So, yo veda alupta dushchetum atmanah akartrutam tatha. यह आत्मनः अलुप्त दृष्टित्वं वेद अकर्तृतां तथा वेद. One knows the alupta drishtitvam, the state of ceaseless consciousness of the self, and so also akartruta, meaning that no kartrutara, no jnatrutvam, etc. Brahmavitvam tatha muktva. Also then giving up the idea of Brahmavitva, that I am a Brahmajnani. Sa Atmagnya, he is called Atmagnya in true sense, Nacha itara, not the one who entertains even the slight Abhimanam that I am Brahmajnani. Okay, we'll continue. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutrabhashyakritau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah. Ishvaro Gururatmedi Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyomavadvyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha.